but an actual person doing a sound check who knows what they're doing will do 1, 2. And I was at a venue recently called the Sydney Schmore. And the tech person, very nice guy, but was like on stage going, mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I was like, this is great, so confident. And then he was like, 1, 2, 3. I went, oh no, it's all gonna go badly. But it was fine. So I'm trying to let go of that.
1, 3, but no 3.
1, 3, but no 3. 1, 2. I missed you.
I miss you too. See, we did that perfectly, so today the recording is going to go perfectly as
Or
well.
we started perfectly and everything will fall apart. It's so nice seeing you
I
outside.
think between the two of us, you should be the optimist.
That was me being optimistic. That was a horrible start of optimism. Well, actually, my optimistic note is what I said, which is, it's nice to see you outside, which sounds like you're never outside.
I'm never.
That's not how I meant it.
No, it is how you meant it. Okay, I'll tell you why. This is maybe.
Hold my hand longer.
This
Continue.
is the
Yes.
first of many updates we're gonna have.
Yep.
But it's funny that you mentioned that me never being outside. I am prescribed by my doctor to take vitamin D
Really?
every day. And here's the funny thing, right? So on the first occasion that I went, right, because I had a blood test or whatever, the doctor was like, yeah, vitamin D's a little bit low.
Yep.
Just his prescription, take 1 daily, I was like, okay, sure. I must have misheard him entirely,
Yeah.
because the second time I went back,
Yeah.
he was like, oh, have you been keeping up with your vitamin D? I was like, yeah, but you said, it's not that low, right? So I've been missing out here and there, but sometimes I take it. And he's like, oh no, your vitamin D is like non-existent. You need to be taking that every day. I was like, oh, okay.
You've got brittle bones. You're about to turn into dust.
So now I've been very strict on my vitamin D diet.
So your doctor prescribed that you need to touch grass.
But essentially, touch
Really?
grass, be outside. I can't believe that's an actual diagnosis.
It's always scary when they're doing the blood testing and they're looking at the ranges and they're just like, all right, normal range is like 100 to 200.
Yeah.
You're 3. And you're like, is that bad? And they're like, yes, that's
It
very
could be
bad.
worse, right?
The people in my life who often get prescribed vitamin D are the Muslim women in my life because they wear the hijab. So as soon as you said that, I'm just like, mashallah, so pious.
Alhamdulillah.
So pious. I'm blessed.
So that was one of many updates.
Yeah,
and I
beautiful.
think today, Bilal, because as I mentioned before we started, I feel like our last episode was quite frantic.
Manic is the word I was going to
Manic.
use.
It was extremely manic.
Yeah.
And so there were a few things. There are a few updates
Yep.
that I feel like I didn't get to tell you that I want to catch you up on and see what you might want to share, and then we'll do maybe a little bit of here and there, some little fun things.
Well, by way of introduction, I am Bilal, you are Kevin, and this is the Badgered podcast. We're on Barmudugal clan land, always was and always will be Aboriginal land. And our basic structure today is we're going to do a Waffle Wednesday, even though it's Tuesday, the 5th of August, 2025. We're so excited we can't hold on an extra day.
No.
So we're going to catch up. And then we're going to do some classroom activities for anyone who's listening and is keen to either be a teacher themselves, is a teacher, or at some point in future wants to run workshops or be in workshops and be a good participant in workshops. So we're going to do lots of fun kind of warm-up activities as examples, stuff that you and I used to do in the old job and stuff that we're starting to do now in our kind of new work. And then if we have time at the end, I've been working on a new workshop that I'm going to deliver to some primary school students, and I might share that with you, and then you can tear it apart and give me feedback like the good old days.
Sounds good.
Sweet. You've already started with some catch-up stuff.
Yes.
I want to hear your Waffle Wednesday. Waffle on to me, Kev.
So another update was, do you remember the whole conversation that you and I had about my not saying bye when I'm leaving the gym?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was before I surprised you for your birthday, yeah?
Yeah. So
look, I remember that conversation, but also half of me was like distracted.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think I can't remember whatever conclusion you arrived at.
See, you're saying that because the conclusion was one you didn't like. I do remember, which
Okay.
is I agreed with your gym friends.
Yep.
And you're wrong and they're right.
a few of my gym buddies happened across
The episode?
episode.
Oh my gosh.
which led to
Yes.
a extremely massive discussion at the gym
Yeah.
about the pretty much just bagging me out for not saying bye. And then I want to show you something that has been created as a way to perhaps make it easier for me or to mitigate such a thing where I don't ever do that again.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. Kevin says bye in brackets maybe, group chat.
So
And then the first text I see is you saying bye,
Yeah.
but with no E, and then 2 people heart reacted.
yes.
And then people saying bye to you.
So essentially, there's just a.
Why do you at people sometimes?
Oh, okay. So from the beginning, so I basically what was decided was that a group chat was created so that I don't have to physically say bye to people, and that I could once I'm in my car I could say bye. And that's why there's a tagging where the people that are at the gym,
Yeah.
right? If they're at the gym, I tag them and I say bye.
I'm so torn because on the one hand, this is incredibly sweet and incredibly cute. I really love it. And on the other hand, you need a group chat to do a basic human social function.
See, the thing is though, I'm so far into the bit that I
Yeah.
can't, I have to commit to it. It's so funny that there is just a group chat for me saying bye to people.
You know that this is like one step away from them having like a doggy pet cam on you while you climb.
As in, oh yeah, like having,
Like you don't have to, everything's automated,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Whether they're there or not, you come in and then a little thing that just goes ping. Kevin is playing with his ball.
Yeah.
Or the ball is like whatever climb.
Yeah.
And then it's like ping. Kevin has used the bathroom. Ping. Kevin has left by and a little heart emoji. And it's just like you have a little barcode just like
Yeah.
behind your ear, and then when you come in and
oh
out.
yeah, just like automatically.
But I think the whole point is that it's the thought, and especially the at one person is cute because it's like thinking of you, even though you're there. I like it.
So yeah, that's another update.
I'm really hoping what happened is that I've brought these new fans on side by siding with them, and I did it legitimately.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that they had listened. So me saying that I agreed again at the start of this episode is just reinforcing that this is the place for them to be. This is the viewership I want them in. Yeah, if we could tag them to this part of the conversation, come listen, guys. Sweet.
I'll just clip this bit, send it into the,
Beautiful.
the group chat.
All right, hit me with your next one.
Okay, I don't know why this says. Well, I know why the first part is there, which is weird ads. I don't know why the second part is there, which says criminal law.
I mean, for context, what's funny about this is that you sent me a text message which was a picture of your notes, and you're like, I'm so serious about taking notes now. Like, I'm gonna really do it. And it was like neat, and then you were like, this was maybe a few weeks ago, and then now we're here. So, same situation like we usually
So
in.
maybe but I don't know about you. Whenever I'm listening to podcast or I'm on YouTube,
Yep.
and when I get ads, I am strangely getting a lot of ads for the Australian Defence Force.
Me too. Yep. Absolutely me
and
too.
It's there, and then taking a step back from it, right? When you and just taking a moment to think about how weird it is that there is an advertisement
Yep.
that's trying to get you to essentially, more or less,
Yep.
fight other people.
Yeah, and murder people.
Yeah, okay,
Or-
I was gonna say, I don't know if that was gonna.
No,
get
it's like murder people or be part of a system that exists to murder and colonize.
that's weird, right?
Yep, absolutely weird. And
Yeah.
it's like, for me, we used to, I'm sure you had this experience too, when we were younger, we would see those ads on TV. And it's just like, oh yeah, they would always kind of bill it as this like beautifully brave, adventurous career choice. And it's still kind of billed the same way, but there's something really pernicious, something really villainous about you're listening to content that you've specifically chosen. You don't have the TV on and it's just like you're flipping through channels. I'm like, I am listening to a podcast. Sometimes I'm listening to podcasts that are about decolonization, that are about indigenous rights, or the kind of global south rising up against empire, right? And I'm like listening to this thing about a current situation in Gaza, and then before it starts, it's like, the ADF, do you want to make a difference?
I think that's the biggest thing that gets to me, like
Yeah.
just the,
Yeah.
the whiplash.
Yeah,
that one
and
gets.
like something I really appreciate about a podcast I listen to. This is why I love you as my friend, is that like, it's your Waffle Wednesday and I'm interrupting.
No.
But like, you know, I just have missed you and I really want to share these thoughts. I'm listening to this video game podcast called the Nextlander podcast. And there are kind of 3 guys who used to be part of this thing called Giant Bomb. And I'll link all of this in the kind of show notes, or you will, and I'll send it to you. And they have this podcast, and there's one of these guys on the podcast, his name is Alex Navarro. And he's very no nonsense, especially when it comes to social issues. And in so much as they can be kind of forthcoming when they are still a kind of business, even if it's independently owned, they kind of touch on things like the current situation to do with ICE in the States. Or they've even spoken about Palestine and boycotts against Microsoft because they are a video game podcast, so they talk about Xbox. And recently on an episode, they started off by issuing an apology because the podcast hosting service they use have an automatic ad at the start of each of their podcasts. And this is the first I've ever heard of someone kind of talking candidly about it. And their previous episode had an ad for ICE before the podcast. And understandably, all these listeners who really appreciate them messaged them and went, what the hell? Like, you guys are advertising ICE, but they didn't choose that ad. So then they went, spoke to the podcasting service, the hosting service, and then that ad was removed. But just the fact that it can happen is so freaky. So yeah, I'm having the same experience. And I wonder if it's like we're politically engaged in content, so we're flagged somehow.
It stands out. Oh, so as in we're targeted for it.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe it's just like so blanket and these military budgets are massive. So I'm sure, yeah, other people who maybe aren't so in the know, or at least trying to be in the know, maybe they receive it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, same experience.
Maybe this segues onto my next one, which is you were talking about a podcast you were listening to that you share. This next bit, and I want you to share as well if you do have one, which was that just kind of any new media that we're consuming lately. And because there was this one thing that I wanted to actually talk to you about for a while now, but I just keep forgetting.
Yeah.
But I'm a note taker now, Bilal.
Hell yeah, you are.
Right? So
you go first. I like this question. Go.
There is this manga that I think I just saw talked about on Instagram one day, and I wanted to check it out, and I'm hooked. And it is surprising because it is not something I thought I would be hooked into, but I'm completely devoted to it. And it is called They Are Still Being Shaken This Morning.
That's a good title.
They're still being shaken this morning.
This is so Japanese manga, obviously translated into English.
Yes. So at first the premise is it would sound quite not my type, which is essentially it is about a boy and a girl. They go to 2 different schools, but they happen to catch the same train every morning. Right? And on first glance, it looks like it's exploring this kind of slow burn, blooming of a young relationship, right? The thing that makes it so damn funny is that the story isn't just told through those 2 characters, but there is a group of 3 people that also happen to catch the same train every morning. It is a uni student, a lady that works in an office, and some sort of business manager. And they don't know each other, but because they catch the same train, right? They notice these 2 students kind of like having a crush on each other. So what happens, and it's pretty funny because full circle, they create a group chat.
Oh my God. Wait, so the 3 people who have nothing to do with the couple, they
happen to notice, and then they create a group
and
chat.
They get to know each other because of this relationship? Oh, that's cute. I like that.
And some of the episodes, like it's a play-by-play of it's pretty much their group messages while the thing is happening at the same time. And I don't want to spoil it, but there was this one issue that it was so damn funny. It was like somehow I'll say this. Have you ever watched Snowpiercer?
Yes, I have.
Like the original?
Chris Evans on the train? Yeah, I have.
All I'll say is that that one issue makes reference to Snowpiercer in such a way that's like, it's so funny that I would highly recommend it. And surprisingly enough, I'm also now invested in this kind of slow burn, young couple that I thought I would not have been.
I think additional content that would be fun for us to film is we've spoken about watchcasts, or like we watch something or read something and we do like a book club for it, whatever it is. I would love to read that and then we do a spoiler cast for it. Like we talk about the things that happen for people who might be interested in it. The thing I wanted to ask you though is, do you read a lot of manga? I know we've spoken about Attack on Titan before, but I don't think we've spoken about anime or manga much outside of that.
No, so literally the only reason why I started reading it was just because it was recommended to me on Instagram. Otherwise, it's not something that...
So you're not like currently reading another manga to compare it to?
Oh, I am. There is one. But, okay, so I was trying to catch up, right?
Yeah.
But then recently, I bought an ebook reader. So I've been reading a lot more. Thank you. I've been reading a lot more, and I've been slacking off on the manga.
We might have spoken about it in the first season of Badgered, but just in response to that thing about seeing a story from an outside perspective, something that the manga you're talking about reminds me of is a book called The Sun is Also a Star. And I've used it as a teaching text before when we ran a novella program, and you were in the class, and it was this like 2-page section that was a chapter in a larger novel about this like love story between this man and this woman who were like burgeoning romance, and they come from different cultural backgrounds. And I might be completely misremembering this, but I think the author is Korean, and the main character, who's a man, is Korean, and the girl in the story is an African American. And the guy takes the girl out to a restaurant, and it's a Korean restaurant, and she can't use chopsticks, and then he's like, oh, can I have a fork? And then the waitress is really rude and goes, no, like, teach girlfriend use chopsticks. Like, that's almost the kind of grammar and phrase that's used. And then it goes to a 2-page description that shows what's going on for that waitress, and how she like has her own thing with her son, who like married a different culture, and she was really nasty to them, and then they moved away, and she saw her son in him, and is trying to kind of hold on, but she's just a bit character, and she never comes back later, but you're seeing the romance from a random stranger's perspective, and that happens all throughout the book, and it's really, really cool to kind of hear that happening in a larger sort of like manga, like a graphic novel context.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes me want to check it out. My answer, I'm going to try to pick something that I don't usually do, because like I'm always reading new books or playing new video games or watching new shows or stuff, because I consume a lot of media when I can. So a new thing I did recently is I started going through the official art book for Arcane, the Netflix series. And I really like art. Like, I'm practicing drawing a lot in the last few years, and painting. And usually what I do is I either go to the library and borrow an art book, or I buy one and I never, ever, ever read it. I don't even open it. It's like, oh, official art of the Into the Spider-Verse universe, or like even Pokemon or whatever it is, and it kind of sits there and it looks pretty. It's like a textbook, coffee table book. And I just never actually use it or engage with it to inform my work. But I borrowed, and maybe this was the distinction, I had to make, and this is one of my catch-up things later, I had to make zines recently. And I wanted to come up with like this backdrop style to the zines that was like this kind of hand-drawn stuff. But I felt kind of lost of like how to build an aesthetic. So I went to the library specifically with this in mind, to borrow a book about graphic design. So I could like essentially steal or borrow ideas from the book. And I went there, and then I saw the art of Arcane. And it's got all these like hand-scrawled notes from Jinx, the character, on top of the actual real world description of how they made the show. So I borrowed that, and I've been like actually sitting in and looking at all the art and reading it, and it's the first time I've ever engaged with an art book.
Cool.
And that's my new media.
So have you created like a draft or a template of the zine yet?
I've finished that program now.
Oh, you finished?
So one of my catch-up things is I'm going to walk you through.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the Arcane thing.
Yeah. Excellent. Anything else you want to catch me up on?
Yeah, so I have 3 notes. Are you finished with yours?
I think so, yes.
Yeah? You want to do one more, or you want to hold on to it? You good?
I'm good.
All right, I've got 3. The words I wrote were quit, zine, and jihad book.
Hey.
So you don't have to get into it if you don't want to, because this first one kind of, I think, relates to both of us.
Yeah.
Since the last episode, we both again quit our job.
I think we're broken in some way for that.
So the main point I wanted to make with this, and we don't have to get into too much detail, but like I was working as a casual teacher, and I think I touched on it in the previous episode of Rolling with My Homie, and I don't think a full-time or even part-time job in a capitalist system is conducive to living.
Oh, of course not.
I just don't think it is. Like, the kind of living you do when you work doesn't accommodate any sort of life I want to live. And I can get into like, if I wanted to, the specifics of like why I quit this specific job for now, because a casual teacher you can always pick up again later, and like, you know, what I'm focusing on instead. But really the kind of emotional crux of it is that I can't work and live any kind of life. I maybe it's me and I'm broken. I don't know how to.
That makes the two of us, because I'm pretty much in the same boat where I also, is quit the right word for my one? Yeah, sure. My SLSO job, where I really enjoyed working with the kids and stuff. But then what I realized was that like literally every single day I finish, I come home and nap. And then that's all I had time for. And then with me starting uni again, I just imagined that I would crumble into nothing if I had to do both. And luckily I'm fortunate enough in a position where at least right now money isn't a super priority, but it will be at some point. But for now I don't need to worry about that. So
I mean, like I'm kind of straddling that line as well, and it's like, do I desperately need to work right now to avoid ending up on the street, or am I okay and I need to try to figure something else out? And that's kind of where I'm at too. And it's so interesting to me hearing you be like hesitating whether or not it's quit, because I think you and I both probably quit in the same way. Because what I did was I just messaged and I was like, I can't right now, maybe later. And then you did the same, and I think it's because we were both working in a context where people really need workers. So it was like a buyer's market, so we got to do that. So that was my first one. Is I quit. That being said, my second update where I wrote zine is I continued running the workshop at my old high school that I mentioned enrolling with my homie. And it was a program where I work with year 10 high school students at an all-boys school, and we made zines, which were either zines about themselves, they wrote kind of short poems that were identity poems, or it was advice zines, so they like, from their perspective, what's the best advice they can give people? Because we wanted to have this strength-based approach where they are knowledge holders and knowledge sharers. And any sort of mix between that. So some of them had like the poems and the advice together. So what I ended up doing, and I have like misprints in my bag that I want to show you, is that the reason why I started looking at that Arcane book is because I wanted to come up with this sort of like hand-drawn style. And I wanted to take snippets and like cutouts of the boys' work and then overlay it with like backdrop sort of drawn, and hopefully if this is...
So is the backdrop something you drew yourself?
Yes. Yeah, so I wanted to come up with something that I could use as a template across all the zines, and hopefully it'll be up on the screen now if anyone's watching the YouTube version of this, and then overlay it with sort of the handwritten stuff.
This is the students.
That's the students' actual handwriting. And I'll show you a kind of digital thing of what it turned into, but it was sort of like them doing little graphics and then me putting stuff here. And the main thing that it turned into with the Arcane stuff is that I kind of started doing these like little hand-drawn, you can see here, like little gears, and then the sort of like rocket with the like
it's very
cloud. And this is like the little X's, and it was so interesting to me because none of this is like hugely amazing artistically. And maybe I can kind of share this specific one so you can put it up there. But it's so interesting how intimidating it is to look at a blank piece of paper and be like, oh, just doodle on it. But I'm like, but how do I make sure it looks good? Or does this look, and every time I would ask people for feedback on it as I was making the design, I kept being like, does it look punk or does it look juvenile? Does it look hip hop and like grunge, or does it look juvenile? And I kept using that word juvenile, like, is it childish and not polished? And it was so interesting to me that in my mind, I made those two things distinct, that like something can't be childish and good
at the same time,
And as I gave it to the boys, I think, at least from my perspective, as much as year 10 students can be excited about anything, I think they really liked it. And they were like complimentary of the artistic kind of vision for it. And all the criticisms they sort of lodged were at their own like handwriting or their own little kind of drawings and stuff. But I think it turned out really well. So my main update is, from a work thing, is I ran a zine workshop and I kind of created zines as an independent workshop person who did like as kind of through Guest House Publishing. thoughts on that? Questions about that? Anything that you want to know more about?
No, have you got more lined up, or was that kind of like a one-off?
No current zine workshops lined up. My next project is going to be working with primary school students across 5 different schools. Yeah, which is kind of intimidating, but really cool. And the next step for these zines is another friend of
for the primary school stuff, are you going to do another zine version?
No, it's not going to be zine.
Stuff.
The primary school thing is, if we get time, we'll kind of touch on it later. But the last step of the zines is a friend of the show, Aphrodite, Illographo Press, Wolfbound Books. She is running a Parramatta Zine Fair on the 20th of September, which I will link in the show notes. And I want to take these zines to that zine fair and kind of give them out to people. And the boys were doing the sort of like, are we selling them? Are we giving them for free? But for now, we're just kind of going to share them with as many people as possible to show how like legitimate they are as sort of authors and artists in a Western Sydney space. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent.
And last one, which hopefully I'll link as well in case anyone's interested, is Guest House Publishing is now publishing its third book, which is by Jihad Yassin. And
Jihad. Sorry, can I interrupt real quick?
Go for it.
So I've climbed with both you and Jihad before at my home gym, right?
This is pre-group chat days.
Pre-group chat days. So I've climbed with you both, and then one day I was at the gym climbing just by myself, and then my friend was like, "Oh yeah, I saw your friend Bilal here the other day." I was like, "What? Are you
like,
sure?"
He betrayed me. Who's he thinking?
I know,
he is?
I was always climbing by himself. I was like, "Oh yeah. I saw him with his brother, I think, or whatever, climbing at the gym." I was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, yeah. Let's do it. I was like, I don't think I think you're mistaken Bilal for someone else. And he's like, "No, it was Bilal. I know it."
Yeah.
And so look, I'm gonna go to the desk and look at the check-ins.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's funny that you didn't just show a picture.
I mean, it was funny this way.
Yeah.
Anything for the bit.
Oh, of course.
And then turns out it was Jihad.
I got Islamically profiled. This is great. Well, I guess Jihad did.
the guy that was doing the profiling was Muslim as well, so it's fine.
It's not Islamophobic.
No.
He's one of us.
I thought that was just funny that
That's
you
pretty
two
special.
confused with each other.
We look very different.
Extremely different.
Yeah, we could not look more different. Even like, I look kind of like one of Jihad's brothers, I think, but like especially Jihad. No. Yeah.
Sorry, as you were.
That's it. I just wanted to say that it's coming out in September. It's available for pre-order now. And like, to be candid always about how I'm running Guest House, I'm paying for the printing of that book with pre-orders. And the sales that we make from Ella's book, which is the one we did prior, and we paid for Ella's book's printing with the sales from my book. So yeah, to ensure that the next book after Jihad's, we can actually sell it, people need to buy the book because I'm not getting funding from anywhere else. So yeah, it's exciting. I'll link it if anyone's listening and they haven't pre-ordered the book, pre-order it.
I feel, have you any updates, kind of maybe like business-wise, about everything that you've been?
Yeah, I think like I'm trying to think about what people will find interesting.
I guess because what you mentioned about Guest House there, about how the pre-sales or the previous offer goes towards the printing of the current offer. I'm curious about how, if you find that has actually been working, if you think that it's something, or if you think you might try a different approach for any future authors you might work with.
I like that question. So far, the sales of the books have covered all the costs we need to pay for new books. Which I'm counting as a huge success. I think the business right now is successful because we've managed to do that, because that was my intention. So right now what happens is that we release a book, and it all started with my one, and that the money that we make covers for the next book's printing costs, cover design costs, typesetting costs, copy editing, which I'm happy to go into more of this in case you want to know anything about it, or if people, listeners have questions, they can send them in. And also the cost to pay technically the advance of the author. Except so far, what's been happening is that the current book sales has covered for the advance of the author. So like, for example, instead of paying Jihad, which hasn't happened yet because the book hasn't come out yet, out of the money that we made from Ella's book, we'll pay his advance out of the sale of his book, which so far has been successful enough. The kind of change, to always be honest and so that people can see what like running your own business is like, is that the thing that's making me nervous right now is that selling my book paid completely for Ella's book. Selling Ella's book has paid for half of Jihad's book.
Yeah.
And that's because I think in part with Ella's book, we printed half the copies. So like I did 400 of mine.
Yeah.
And I've sold almost all of them.
Yeah.
There's a few left, I think, on the site. It might be sold out by the time people go and try to order. And we might do a reprint in the future, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
And selling those 400 meant that like we could cover all of Ella's cost and it's not even a thing. For Ella's, we've sold really well. We haven't sold out completely, but we did 200 books.
Yeah.
And that has mostly covered Jihad's. But it's showing me that I think there's a gap there that even if we don't scale, if I just want to comfortably cover the costs of everything, I need to either sell more books or think of something else. So that it's not like a stress of, am I going to have the money in the account when I pay for this thing and this thing? And we've been really lucky. Like the cover design has been Aphrodite.
Yeah.
And she gives us such a reasonable rate. And the copy editing across the two books have been friends who I have underpaid. Yeah. And I've told them that I've underpaid them. And I'm like, this is less, I think, than what you should charge. I have been offering 300 for copy editing of the book. And I keep telling them, if I were you, I would charge 500. And they have been, beautiful in their like, if you needed me to, I would do it for free.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's not the kind of business I want to set up. So yeah, I could always make use of more money by paying the artists who are involved in the projects more.
Do you have any ideas currently about because you say you're thinking about how to maybe shuffle things or change things a bit? Do you have any ideas currently about how you might do that?
Yeah, like I think the idea I have is also a struggle I have, is that I've mentioned that I'm running workshops, right? And the workshops I'm running them through Guest House Publishing. I'm doing them through my ABN, which is attached to the company.
Yeah.
And so far what I've managed to avoid is that the workshop money that I'm getting, I'm not using any of that money to pay for any of the making of the books, including all the stuff I listed and paying all those artists. All of them are getting paid only through book sales. And I think if I start using the workshop money for the book production stuff, it'll be helpful. It'll help us not have to worry about us being the royal us, it's just me.
Yeah.
About the kind of covering the cost of the books and whatnot. But what it starts getting into the territory of is, am I staying on brand and on mission for what Guest House Publishing is supposed to be? It literally says it on the website. We pay 100% of the costs of the business through the sale of books. And I think there's a line in there about the kind of offering of services. And the offering of those services is workshops. And that's fine if I'm running a workshop where I'm like, hey, here's a humanities link. Do like 40 of you want to come and hang out and I'll write with you for 3 hours and you each pay me like $10. But that's very different to me being like, I'm going to go run a school workshop. Because what if I'm going and working for a school, and I'm running a school workshop, and the school goes, cool, we'll pay you like a visiting author fee if you're doing an hour talk, $500.
Yeah.
Where's that money coming from? That money's coming from the Department of Education, which is the Australian government. So the Australian government gives me money for running a class. I, running the business, make a decision to use that money to produce a book.
Yeah.
Does that then take us off mission of not having funding to do programs? And the ultimate crux of it is that the reason we're not taking funding is so that we can be uncompromising in Islamic values. But I think that should extend to the way we run workshops too. So if I'm ever in a situation, this is me saying out loud so I can hold myself to account, that if Bilal, you're listening to this in 2 years, like how are you tracking against this? If I'm ever in a situation where I'm like, I have to compromise the way I'm doing a workshop because if I don't get this money, I'm not able to make this book. Even if I haven't changed the thing that the book is creating and how the author is speaking, I think I've compromised in my original mission of what I want Guest House Publishing to be.
If you've changed the workshop as a result of the thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Even if it doesn't affect, because the book production, because if we take it to the ultimate extreme, what it kind of looks like is, what if I'm there just running whatever workshops people want me to run, and I'm like, and like the compromising of an Islamic value can mean anything, but like,
I want to. Is that like? Is there like a specific? How would you call it? A specific aspect or tenet of the religion itself, or are we just talking like real broadly?
Well, the example I was going to give is to do with Palestine. Let's say, for example, I'm working in a school setting, and there is a student who wants to publish something that is about Palestine in the writing that I'm producing with them. And then the school goes, no, we don't want that to happen. Or there's any kind of version of that kind of going on. So for me, if I'm ever in a position where I'm like, I want to keep the school happy because I need to keep working here because I need the money and the business needs the money. If I'm doing that, standing for Palestine is standing for justice, and a central tenet of our religion is standing up against oppression, either through our actions, through our speech, or even through our thoughts when we're unable to do so because of safety. So for me, if I'm ever in a position where I'm not doing that because I'm worried about the money, then I've compromised.
Okay.
And I don't want to have the business be dependent on that. So it kind of means sales need to go better, or I need to make more books, or I need to offer workshops that give us money that aren't dependent on other funding. Because sometimes I work with another organization, and where do they get their money from? They get money from places like DSS, the Department of Social Services, or DCJ, the Department of Criminal Justice in Australia, which runs a huge surveillance system and over surveillance of our communities and incarcerations of our young men. When I say our young men, like Muslim Arab men. So all that.
I'm curious, because in the first instance with the Department of Education stuff, right?
Yes.
You're talking about how as long as you weren't compromising your values in running the workshop, having to change things or adjusting things in a way that you'd be okay with still running the workshops.
Yep.
With those other two, because I'm curious about, about perhaps, I'm just like curious how your mind works about where that line is drawn, right?
Yep.
With the other two organizations, DSS and DCJ, right?
Yeah.
And receiving, and those departments funding organizations that you may or may not work with.
Yeah.
Does that same rule still apply, where you would be okay with working with those organizations that receive money from those departments as long as your workshop, your values aren't changed or compromised in any way? Or is it a case-by-case thing?
I think in a perfect world, we don't receive money from any of those garbage institutions.
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world, yes. Like, I think even if I think that the work isn't changing or that the work isn't being compromised in that way, just to receive money from the sources is problematic.
Okay.
Yeah. So which is why right now, the distinction I'm drawing is that none of the book production, none of that money that we're paying to make that stuff will ever come from those workshops.
Yeah.
Those workshops exist because I need to pay rent.
Okay.
Not for the business, I mean for me as an individual.
Yeah.
Like personally, I work and I do stuff, and then I use that money to live. But what happens when I then start working with other authors? What if a school asks me to bring an author with me? Like, it's all stuff that I thought I had considered before I started the business, and even now I'm still kind of trying to reconcile what it looks like. So the maybe arbitrary distinction I've made so far is, now the bookmaking, you pay for that with the book selling. Keep it simple. And then I'm slowly trying to explore what the other stuff looks like.
I mean, I think, yes, it is arbitrary to an extent, but that doesn't mean that, it's most things in the universe is arbitrary about why we do things. Why do we decide to wear socks with our shoes? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's arbitrary, but we still do it regardless. I feel like there's so much more we can delve into on this topic.
I think this is
I think we'll save it for.
I think this is another episode entirely about independent publishing. But the note I'll leave it on is that yes, everyone has a code. Yeah. And a lot of the code is maybe arbitrary, but ultimately for me, my code is Islam. My code is my religion, and as a Muslim, I believe in God and tenets given to me by God. So I have actually a really clear guideline for how I should live my life and run my business. So I do have something I'm trying to measure against, but I'm also trying to give myself grace that I'm learning how to do that in the best way.
And as well as you're being forced to live in a world that kind of forces you to work.
And then is it better to just work another random capitalism job? But then obviously I can't because I quit. Yeah, that's my very long waffle Wednesday. That's my update on my life.
I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Anytime.
And being on the topic of workshops, should we segue into regulation?
Yeah, I have the kind of document open here. Do you want to give a really quick spiel about what this document is, and then we can kind of work through some of the fun kind of activities and questions?
Okay, where do we even begin? So, long story short, you and I listen to a podcast, called the Regulation Podcast.
Yep.
In the process of listening to the podcast, there are always certain segments or topics that they talk about that when I listen to it, I was like, oh, this would make a great either workshop activity or warm-up activity or an icebreaker of some sort.
Yeah.
And that, of course, ties into the fact that you and I, or I used to, but you currently still do, where run a lot of workshops where these kind of activities are useful. And then maybe, Bilal, do you want to quickly touch on why instead of just jumping straight into a workshop, say, okay, this is what we're going to do today, X, Y, Z, why do you think it's important, or the place or the purpose of activities such as these before you jump straight into an activity of some sort?
I think it relates to, we used to speak about this in the old job, which is a theory of change. That if you're working, especially with young people, you have a working theory, at least in your mind, that the work you're doing with them will change them for the better. So your theory that you're positing is that you do things with them and then the outcome is an increase in whatever you say will happen. So whether it's their literacy will improve or their confidence will improve. But the theory of change exists in stages, that there's things that you need to do along your journey of working with that young person. So the final thing is something that is an improvement, a net positive for them. And for us, in the context of creating writing workshops, what that looks like is that we want to create a piece of art or a piece of writing or performance, whatever it is, we usually call it a publication, with those young people. But before then, we have to teach them how to write. We have to explicitly instruct them for how to be creative and how to improve as writers. So we teach them things like how to write interesting characters and interesting dialogue. Those are the kind of intermediate things. But there's a step even before that, which is how do you get those young people ready to even do something instructive like that? So if you were to sit down, especially with a group of young people who maybe are struggling with literacy, this is useful for anyone who's studying to be a teacher. And a few of you beautiful people have messaged on our Instagram, our Badgered Instagram page, which I'll link as well in the bio. And we've had conversations about teaching before, is that you have to work with that young person in a way that they are receptive to the actual knowledge giving and sharing and the kind of practical things you're teaching them. So if you work with a young person who hates writing, you sit down in the classroom with them and their only experience with writing is struggling. Maybe they're still forming their letters, their words, their sentences, their paragraphs. And they've been told that they are bad at writing. And you sit down and the first thing you say to them is, you're gonna write me a description of what you did on the weekend. That's the first conversation you have with them. They will struggle engaging with you. And they'll probably, misbehave in your class if that's the way that they usually deal with that, or at least they'll kind of shut down and they won't be able to do the work to learn. So the step before all of that is you create an environment in your classroom and you build that into your workshop plan and your lesson plan to open them up to the experience of trying something new with you.
Yes.
So that's why in the old job, we did a lot of these activities and we'd spent a long time talking about these activities.
And very importantly as well, what I think it does is that in addition to what you said, it kind of primes them as well, right? Where the whole idea of there's no wrong answers, because I think so many students that we've worked with were always scared of giving a wrong answer. Like they can't share unless they know that they are going to be absolutely right. So not only that it primes them that it's okay to just share, it's okay to just talk, it's okay to just have a conversation. It also, what I found that this is really useful for is that when you do these type of activities, that it positions them as an expert as well.
Completely.
Which I think people will understand what that means once we kind of go through some of these. So I've separated this document into kind of two sections, questions and activities. I think we won't do the activities just because it will probably take too long. But I think it'll be interesting to go through some of these icebreakers, these questions that you can ask students if you want to kind of set a kind of fun or just creative mood. So I'll start first. Maybe I'll pick a question and we can go through it, and then maybe you pick a question and we'll share our answers.
Yeah, so do you want to do the questions to each other, or do you want to try to do them together? You pick one, we discuss it, pick another one, discuss it. All right, sweet, let's do that.
All right. I'll start this one is pretty funny. If your body, your entire body, was a subscription service, all right, which body part would you unsubscribe from to save money?
Depending on how much minute control I would have it, it sounds weird, but my hearing.
Your hearing?
Yes, bear with me. Alhamdulillah, first and foremost, thank you God for the faculty of being able to hear. But I spend so much time I believe I thanked God and then I said but. And I spend so much time using noise cancelling headphones. So if I could do some kind of basic plan where like it's cheaper, right?
Not premium.
Not premium.
Yeah.
I just want basic entry level, the ad version, if you will, of I only need to use my hearing for these hours of the day.
Oh.
So it's kind of, it gets into a safety conversation of like, if I'm sleeping and I can't hear anything, is that a problem? But I think there are times of the day where I'm just like, you know how you use electricity at home? I'm like, switch the hearing off. Like if I had to pay for all the parts of my body, I'm like, sometimes just switch the hearing off because I'm also someone who gets really overstimulated with sound. So if I could just go switch off the hearing, I would do that.
Perfect.
Any criticisms?
I feel like you're like playing with fire.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't, like let's say, I don't know, you've got no hearing from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
I feel there's so many things can go wrong during the period where you might need your hearing.
And I think there's, probably a lot of really beautiful listeners of podcasts who are hearing impaired, who use transcription services, and maybe are listening to this and being like, Bilal, you're the most ignorant person in the world, which is like, man, I welcome that criticism so much. It's not on you to have to educate me. I will do my best to educate myself. But it's just where my mind went first.
Sure.
Like you're on a train and someone's just like being the worst and they're listening to, their season 13 of Grey's Anatomy, episode 2, some random drama I don't care about is happening and they don't know how earphones work. I can just be like, whoop, and I don't hear it.
So that's assuming that you have control over it.
Yes. Right. If I don't have control,
just pure unsubscribe.
Yeah, I have another answer, but you do yours first, then I'll come
No, it's easy. My ability to smell.
And taste.
No, to smell.
It's linked though.
It's partially linked, sure. Like, am I decreasing some level of flavor? Sure. Not entirely. I can still taste.
You're playing with fire as well.
And also, in what scenario, what life-saving scenario would I need my sense of smell for?
Fire.
I can feel heat.
Yeah, but if a fire is happening somewhere where you are, right? What happens first? You're in an apartment. What happens first? Do you feel the heat of the flame or do you smell smoke? Or there's a gas leak?
I feel like, yes, I concede, but I feel like there is more danger that is likely to happen that would require the need for hearing more than smell, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think so too. I just think you're kind of minimizing how much your sense of smell and your sense of taste is linked. I know it's not a clear one-to-one, but I think like you're opening yourself up to, because you're talking about like you're unsubscribing completely from smell, right? I think you're opening yourself up to the possibility of never being able to taste anything again. or essentially not being able to taste anything again.
I think there would be an easy way to test this, right? We could just I
don't think that's the same.
I'm not smelling anything.
Maybe additional content is we both try to eat something with our noses blocked and see how we go.
Or we need a scientist to talk about the
we
effects
are not the scientists.
Of unsubscribing from body parts.
I think it's interesting to say, like, this is such a good example of why these activities are good. Like, we just had a chat about this, right? And I think if you see kids having a conversation like this in a classroom, they would have just spent the last 4 or 5 minutes talking about something that has nothing to do with the work, but they're talking about it with you and they're comfortable and they're laughing and you're learning something about themselves, about what annoys them or their preferences. And I think that's what makes the activities really good. So I think you chose a really good one as an example.
You want to go next?
Yeah, all right. I'm just literally going to go to the second one because I want to see what you'll say about this. Which animal would be the best animal to fist bump?
Damn. Which animal would be the best animal to fist bump?
I'm going to just scoot a little bit closer to you so I'm out of the sun. But really, I just want to sit closer to you.
Which animal would be the best?
Let me ask this way. Have you ever fist bumped an animal?
I don't think I have.
Not even like a dog?
Fist bump a dog?
Yeah, like if you go shake hands.
Shake hand, but that's not. I feel shaking a hand is different from fist bumping.
Okay.
There's just a different energy to it.
Yeah.
I would probably want to fist bump This is really hard.
You want me to go first?
Yes, please.
While you're thinking, so my answer's kind of broad, but I want to fist bump anything that has wings. Because I think there's something like really interesting about when we watch cartoons or movies and then you have an anthropomorphized animal, so an animal with human qualities. And then I'm always curious to watch how they animate something with wings as having hands. So like a bird, right?
Yeah.
The like feathers turn into fingers. I think it would just feel so satisfying for like a goose, right? To come up to me, curl its wing into something like a fist and fist bump me. Especially because a goose has like such interesting attitude. And I just want to earn its respect. But
It's like a goose is so cool.
yeah, the way that they like interact with things are their feet in their mouth. I think for it to form a fist and fist bump me, I would be like, job done. I'm like, I feel really satisfied. Like I'm a cool guy because a goose fist bumped me.
See, the problem I was having is that when I think about fist bumping an animal,
Yeah.
it's like animals are soft and squishy, right?
Yeah.
But when you fist bump me, it's like a
There's a,
satisfying,
like,
like,
yeah.
there's like a good, there's a solidness.
There's a meat
to it.
smack.
Yes, there's a so, but now that I think about it, I would choose a rhino. Like, but no, listen.
Okay.
I'm fist bumping its horn.
Oh, so you're choosing the body part?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing with the wing. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Right?
Do you
so I
think?
think it would be satisfying, like a nice.
But do you think the horn is the fist of the rhino?
No, I don't, to be clear.
Okay.
But, like, if we're talking about if I'm fist bumping an animal, because that's the only way I could feel like that would be satisfying enough.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no other animal where you could choose its arms. Like, if you wanted to fist bump a kangaroo, right? That wouldn't be satisfying. Its arms are too small compared to the
Yeah.
size of its body.
Yeah.
All right? Like, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, it would sort of be like a
it's like,
Tyrannosaurus.
no.
Well, if we get to choose whatever body part, I want to lock arms with a swordfish. And the sword is the arm. I just sort of want to like, you know, like almost Predator style, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
This might go to show my lack of knowledge on animal biology.
Yeah.
But would that hurt you?
Maybe, but the danger is what makes it cool. I like
But
it.
the possibility of losing an arm or not.
I want to live on a literal knife's edge. I love it. All right.
I like that.
Your turn. Do another one.
Sha, how many more should we do? Like just 2 more?
Yeah, I reckon we'll do 2 more and we see how we go.
I am. I don't know what carrot benefits even mean. I think I'm going to choose this one. I think this is a good one for kids as well.
Yeah.
They would have a lot of different opinions on it. If you could, I'm changing it up a bit. If you could fill like a kiddie pool, right? Mm-hmm. Of any food that you want,
Yeah.
what food would you choose that would be the most comfy to sleep on?
A kiddie pool and I'm sleeping in it?
Yep, but it's filled with food. So what food are you putting in there to ensure the best night's sleep?
Oh man, that's tough. Okay. Do you have an answer that you want to
I
start
have
with?
one.
All right, you start and then I'll jump in.
Vietnamese rice paper rolls. Because
So specific. All right.
they're like, each one of those, if you could fill a kiddie pool with it, each one of those are like springs almost. It's like 90% air because in it
Do you mean, sorry to interrupt, do you mean the roll rolled with stuff inside it?
Yeah. Because if you
Oh.
roll it with like, you got your lettuce, your cucumber, carrots,
Yep.
maybe a bit of meat. And then when you roll it, there's like a nice, it's very squishy.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you chuck a ton of those in a kiddie pool, very comfortable to sleep on, without a doubt.
I really like your answer. Like, especially because the thing I'm struggling the most with is how moist the bed is.
Yeah, right? And I think it'll be somewhat clean, or relatively clean.
Yeah, I think it solves a problem that was gonna be my answer, which I was gonna choose malfouf, which in Arabic, it's an Arab dish which is really similar. It's cabbage rolls, and inside the cabbage rolls is rice and meat, but it's also kind of a wet dish.
Yeah.
So to do that, you would have like the physical comfort of the base, the structure, but then also you'd like be all wet, which is not how you want to sleep. So I kind of am trying to think of the driest food possible. So I'll choose a different answer, and I feel like for me, it's basmati rice.
Uncooked or cooked?
Cooked. It's cooked basmati rice because we eat it a lot as Lebanese people with things like matloubi or mansaf, which is the kind of chicken and roast almond and like sultanas and onion dish, and it's very, very spiced. But if you just sort of get the rice portion, and I think if you cook the basmati rice right, it's very fluffy, it's very soft, and most importantly, it's not sticky and it's not wet. It's like the driest possible rice while still being cooked. So you would wake up with like rice in all your bits, and yours is probably more comfortable. If I have to choose a second answer, yeah, I go cooked basmati rice.
My runner-up was going to be uncooked rice.
All right. First off, I don't think it's allowed because I don't think you can eat it. Like,
It's gonna be
because then you
something
just go like lentils
Okay, true. Okay,
or like
fair
kidney
enough,
beans.
fair enough.
Like, I think it's something that you have to at any point in the middle of the night be able to wake up,
Just
take
have
a
a
spoonful out, and eat. So that, for that
Yeah.
reason. Bonus question: what's the most uncomfortable food to have to sleep in?
Oh,
Assuming it's not like actively damaging you, like hot soup. You know, like
would a fruit count? Because I would say like durian.
because of the smell.
No, because of the spikes.
Oh, you mean like while it's still in its skin? Oh, for the record, I do like durian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess in the middle of the night you'd have to turn peel one.
Yeah.
Now that opens up an interesting conversation for like, what's the most comfortable fruit to sleep
There
on?
we go. See, endless possibilities if you're doing this for a
I wonder
class.
if it's like, they can't be too ripe, but bananas. Like really big bananas. If you just kind of lay them out like
Yeah.
the slats of
Mango.
yeah.
If it's ripe enough, I feel like that could work as well.
Yeah. Most uncomfortable food to sleep on that doesn't like actually hurt you and cause physical permanent damage. I probably say, I mean, it's the wet thing again.
Pizza.
Like,
A greasy pizza.
yeah, I was gonna say like spaghetti bolognese, like
Yeah.
the kind of the tomato thing,
Yeah.
because it just stains all your clothes and in your skin. Yeah, gross.
Excellent.
Cool. All right.
one?
Yeah, my next one is, I think I wanted to choose one that speaks to the thing about making people experts, especially young people, making them out where if you ask them a question and it's like, you know, what's a place you like spending time in or a thing that you like doing, I feel like they often don't think, for the most part, that they are interesting. That to write about their own life makes them interesting, which is why I really like this question, which is, what is something you're the first person to have done?
Oh.
And I take this to mean like ever in history or in the world. Something that like you did it and you're like,
one.
I'm the only one to have done this.
Yeah.
I've got an answer,
Please.
and mine is like a flex, quite literally. It happened, I think we might have either been there together or it happened while we were working together in the old job, which is I did a muscle up, right?
Yeah.
And a muscle up is a calisthenic movement where you do a pull up and then a dip on top of the bar all in one movement. And it's like a really good show of upper body strength. And the thing isn't the muscle up, but the thing that I think I'm the first person to have ever done, surely it has to be me, is I was wearing a button up long sleeve shirt and I did a muscle up to the bar, went down, and then looked at my shirt, and I had cracked one of my buttons in half.
But it's straight in like.
Straight in half. And I still have the shirt. So it's got all these buttons down the center.
Yeah.
And then one of the buttons is just perfectly cut in half by having done a muscle up because I hit the bar and it cracked the button off. And half of it was left. Still
a good one.
functional. I really truly feel like in history, and it'd be hard to prove, I must be the only person to have ever done that. Because I could try a million times and not do that again. But like to crack the shirt like that, like to crack a button, when have you ever even cracked?
Right?
I'm surely I'm the only person to have done that. So that's my answer.
I don't live as adventurous as you, but I'm cracking buttons at night.
So exciting.
Why am I the only person? What am I? The only person to have done this?
I think like you probably and me as well. We have a lot of answers that are like silly things we've done at work.
Yeah.
That surely we're the only person to have done this, at least in this room. Or like, I'm the only person to have said this random sentence, especially because we work with kids and they do a lot of kind of strange things.
Maybe. Well, full circle. The only person to have had a group chat created purely for the purpose of saying bye.
Perfect.
Right?
And I think like, again, for educators watching this, it's interesting to watch how someone, you know, like you or like me, tries to prompt someone if you're struggling with a question. We do things like, and sometimes we do it without thinking, I go, I'll answer mine first. So that you can like have more time to think. Or I try to get you to think about it in a different way by giving you a new structure, like a room that you've been in or a person that you've interacted with. But I think that's a good answer. I absolutely don't know anyone who had to have a group chat to say bye.
There you go.
Yeah, cool. You want to do one more and then I'll do one more?
One more? Oh,
Yeah,
sure. I thought that was one more.
No, you said two more, and we only done one since then.
Yeah, two more as in I did one, and then you did.
Oh, let's do one more. I'm enjoying it.
I wasn't prepared for this. This is more of an activity, but I do want to share it because we've done this before, and I think it's just a super interesting question.
All right, hit me.
Which was that how many names can you think of that are based on a category? So, for example, what are all of the names that are based on flowers? Lily.
Do you mean like name that a person would have?
Yeah, that name that a person would have
Yep.
that are based on different categories. So, for example, if the category of flowers, you have rose,
Yep.
lily. I'm sure there's someone out there named Lotus.
Yeah, surely.
Yeah. So, how about do you want to pick a category?
Yep.
And then share as many names that you can think of, and then I'll try to help you as well. Right?
Yeah, I mean, an example that comes to mind immediately is that like people who are named after places.
Yep.
Especially if you can even restrict it to like places in America, in the States,
Yeah.
because like I don't know,
Montana.
Montana,
Indiana.
even Indy,
Oh,
but like that's I guess a shortened version of Indiana.
Yeah.
So I think mine will be like place names.
Yep.
How many place names can we think of that are also names of people? Indiana, Montana. What else?
I was just sticking to America.
No, it could be anything.
Paris,
Oh, Paris is a good one.
London.
Have you ever met anyone called Canada?
No.
Wait, you met someone called London? Or you know someone called London?
The character London Tipton from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Oh my gosh, that's so specific. Okay. It's interesting to constrict it to people that we've met as well.
Oh,
But we don't have to do
okay,
that. It's
yeah.
just like an interesting extra thing you can add to it.
Yeah.
Let's try to think of like three more. Places.
Oh man.
I don't know why my mind's going to like Cairo in Egypt.
Oh yeah.
I feel like
that. That's
Cairo.
fine.
Surely there must be like someone famous who named their kid India.
Oh no, I think that's definitely one.
Yeah.
Um,
Using famous people's children should be illegal. Wow, that sentence is an interesting sentence, but yeah. Let's try to do one more. Maybe something in Australia. Sydney. Hey, easy. Yeah, I like that one.
yeah.
My backup one was categories of like you find like the names of people who are named after colors.
Oh yeah, colors and other categories you might want to use as well. Rocks,
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
Another one that we went through once was religious virtues for adjectives like temperance,
Charity.
charity, temperance.
Yeah.
Bodies of water, like the Nile,
River.
river. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
River's a
Brook.
good one. Brook. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's when we had the conversation about one possible interpretation of my name in Arabic, Bilal, is river. Like bilbil, like the act of a river kind of streaming. Oh, so poetic. Ooh.
No wonder you're not right for a job.
All right, let's do one more.
One more.
I want to know what you think is the worst sound.
Honestly, I was choosing.
I like this
was
one a
bad
lot.
at that.
Tell me, worst sound.
Worst sound. At least I don't know what the worst sound ever is, but definitely one that I've been experiencing lately is a child arguing with their parents because they don't want to take a shower.
Really?
And me being able to hear it for like the apartment above.
What age are we talking about with this child? Are we talking teenager or younger?
No, he sounds pretty young.
Because the like smell from teenager would be
8 or 9, I guess.
That's starting to get whiffy.
And the argument not only escalating from not wanting to take a shower or taking a bath, whatever, but demanding that the parent give back the remote so they can continue playing their game. And once or twice is fine, but every day it gets a bit much.
Yeah, you feel for the parent, but then also it speaks to a larger kind of note that any neighbor sound is not a good neighbor sound.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to hear from neighbors at all.
Anything.
There's this really fantastic
Is there anything you would want to hear from a neighbor when they're just living in their own house?
You know that bike that got stolen, Bilal? I found it.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful poem that was performed at a recent Make Sound Poetry Slam. I'll see if it's been uploaded on YouTube yet, and I can add it to the notes, where someone did this whole story about her overhearing her kind of neighbors, and actually ended up being really sweet.
There we go.
So I'll see if I can put that as a counterpoint.
Yeah.
My worst sound, it's like, I'll try to be specific, but it starts me thinking about any sound that is an unnecessary sound. That's the thing that kills me the most. Like, there's things that obviously can get on your nerves, but people have no control over. I think about a lot with kids, especially very young kids, if they start crying. Even on an airplane or whatever, like, it's tough, but you have no mode of stopping this. Even the parent, maybe you don't have a way to kind of intervene right now. It just kind of sucks for everyone equally. The sounds that get me are when people make sounds that are completely unnecessary. Like, maybe it's absent-minded, or they're just sort of getting stuck in a loop of a sound, and I'm like, you don't need to be doing this thing. So my two examples are like, if something annoying was happening, like someone was making like a weird kind of animal noise, right? But they were just doing it because they were telling a story.
Okay.
And then someone else recreated it and went, wasn't that so annoying? Look how they kept going like this, and then they make the sound again, and they make it more times than is necessary. For whatever reason, it breaks something in my brain where I'm like, you're telling me about something that was annoying, but you're doing it now and you've gotten the point across. Why are you recreating the annoyance for me?
I'm really curious about the type of people that you're interacting with that this actually happens in the first place.
I think it's probably more common than you think, where
reckon?
someone goes like, oh, I heard this sound or I did this thing, and he went, no, and then they do it to explain themselves. I'm like, brother, after the first time you did it, I got the idea. I didn't need to hear it again. So I guess it's that as a broad one.
Yeah.
But then my specific one is, there was a time where I was coming back from Redfern Station at work, coming back to Parramatta, and there was someone who had their, oh man, I have so many answers for this. There's someone who had their AirPods, right? The kind of case of AirPods. I'm trying to grab mine now so I can show you what I mean. And what they were doing is that just kind of in their hand, they were like opening it and closing it and opening it and closing it for like 43 minutes. I timed it. And I've never forgotten, 43 minutes. And I'm sorry to listeners hearing that right now. I'm like, you do not need to be doing this.
Yeah.
It's like just loud enough that it's kind of killing me.
Yeah.
So it's that. And then my last one is people drinking water and gulping loudly while recording a podcast. And I really
is that
hope...
unnecessary though? I mean, is that unavoidable?
All right, this might be controversial, right? This might be my like first actual Badgered hot take. I think people can control how loudly they drink water.
Can they?
I think it's a fact. I think that sometimes people gulp, and it's like you can drink quieter, but you're choosing not to.
No, I'm sorry. I feel like volume is also, there's a relationship between volume and how thirsty you are. I feel like the more thirsty you are, the louder that gulp is going to be. Are you thirsty right now?
So I'm like vaguely thirsty, right? Especially because I've been talking a lot. I'm gonna do two different gulps for you. This first one is a human gulp. That was me trying to be quiet.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was me just not trying to be quiet. That wasn't me trying to be loud. That was me not silencing my gulp.
So why are you limiting how you express your body's desire to just gulp, right? Your body naturally just wants to make that sound. Let your body live.
Because I'm able to be kinder than that. So I choose the kind route. And I know some people might be listening to this and they're like, I've never thought about this before. I don't care. But I know that it bothers me when people do that, because they don't have to. There's a way to do it quieter. And like, if anyone's listening to this and then from now on they're going to be self-conscious around me drinking water, first and foremost, good. But I know it's a me problem. This is not someone else's problem. But the answer is, what do I think is the worst sound? It's when people drink loudly and don't have to.
I mean, you can't get a better answer than that.
Done. I think that
was pretty good.
Yeah, we've been going long enough. I reckon as some additional content, if people want to look out for some stuff, I think that in an upcoming recording, you and I should make a workshop.
Yeah.
Like, we've dipped our toes into this is what it looks like to sort of do an exercise or an activity. I would love to either make a workshop from scratch or to kind of do some feedback on a workshop either of us are sort of working on, and before we deliver it to students, we practice on each other so that people can see what that process looks like. And I'm happy to share resources online that if like people hear about workshops and they're like, oh, well, that sounds really fun, I want to try that myself, or I want to deliver it myself, I'm not precious about it. Like, I'm happy to, whatever we make as content on Badgered, we'll share as additional kind of free to download stuff if I make any of those resources.
Cool.
Sweet, cool.
Hopefully the next episode won't be 3 months.
Nah, we're both unemployed.
We're back.
We're back, times 3.
We're back, baby.
All right.
Love you.
Love you.